We are here at the Boston International Speedway in Boston, Massachusetts for week number 12 in the NOVAR Racing Series. The last time the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series hit the track, Todd Piper scored his first career victory at the Atlanta Motor Speedway after passing Ethan Littinger on the final lap in what fans probably know as a possible Race of the Year candidate. There were no other storylines other than that, so let's just proceed ahead to our week winners for week number 12. We'll begin with the All-American Series at Martinsville. Mike Storm held off a late Nick Wilson charge to get the victory in the All-American Series. The Kellogg Southwest Division was racing at Phoenix, which Jonathan Davenport held a late charge from his teammate Christopher Winslow to take the victory in that one in a relatively interesting race. One race that was uneventful throughout the weekend was the Kellogg's Northwest race at Lyman Park, which John Sester led 99 of the 100 laps, which the only other lap was led by Jonathan Blaine. And the possible race of the week, the GameStop Truck Series headed to Boston as one of two events, the other one being the Verizon Cup Series. Lewis Bohannon held off a charging pack to score his victory here at the Boston Speedway. The Boston International Speedway is located in Boston, Massachusetts. It is a 1-mile oval and has had its first race held in the 1989 season. The last time the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series hit the track here, Shane Harden took the checkered flag, leading 80 of 200 laps. Winning the Aflac Pull Award here at Boston is Jason Duke, car number 66. Jake Kierland, if you recognize the DP tiebreaker, that's actually driver points tiebreaker since Wyke and Kierland had the same lap time. That also applies to Youthan and Bliss. They had the same identical lap time, however, driver points are determined what got the tiebreaker. Notable starters in the back: Jay Anonori, Jason Calasso starting 29th and 30th, starting in row 15. Ethan Littinger, another poor start for car number 51, starts 34th. Mike Hogan had to rely on a provisional first time this season. He had to use one. He will start in the 41st spot. So Jason Dugan, car number 66, is on the inside. Jamie Sky, car number 9, run on the outside. The 66 of Duke gets a really good start and gets away from the 9 just as they get into turn number 1. It does appear that 9 car got a really good start there. Jake Kierland's trying to get to the bottom onto that 9 car to make Reelin Racing go 1-2. Actually, a Fusion Racing going 1-2, excuse me there. As Scotty and the 9's trying to use that high line, Jake Kierland in the 76 trying to use the bottom. As going to the line, looks like Kierland got in the spot there on the first lap, but Jamie Scott in car number 9 is still not holding back, and looks like Kierland's going to clear. Scott Johnson is now going to try to battle out that 9 car at Jamie Scott. Here's Mike Hogan and Ethan Littinger. Both of them had to start in the back. Your first and second place drivers in points, they had to both start in the back. Hogan actually had to rely on a provisional, while Littinger just did not qualify as well due to how he was in the first group, and then the second group kind of all blended in, instead of just being like one group being faster than the other. Littinger in the 51 is currently, both of them are moving up fairly easily. Hogan was, I believe, starting at 41st, which started on the inside, while Littinger had to march down to the bottom of the racetrack. AC notable drivers also there. Todd Piper, last week's winner at Atlanta, he is not doing as well as Staples Jr. car number 11 is also another driver that's not doing well. Ronald Portland, car number 31, you see, we're going to be mentioning him. Why? Because he actually has a different paint scheme, as this scheme actually debuted at Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. However, Portland has basically come qualified since getting that new paint scheme. His traditional paint scheme, which has been like black and gold, has been replaced with the Pizza Hut's recent rebranding with red and gray on the 31. Portland's not doing justice, as he is running in dead last. Damon Scott, number 18, is also in the back as well, with a few other drivers. Carter Pappas, car number 4. This would actually be our first cut on 19. He gets into Casey Linger. That gets Ethan Linger, the 51, sliding down the track. Shane Clark, the 3rd. Justin Klingston. Several cars piling. Pavis is on his roof. Shane Clark, the 98, rolling down the track, and I think he lands on top of Thomas Lewis' number 16 car. Casey Linger, well, they're here in another angle. Looks like Pavis got a run, and then Casey Linger came down, and then that got Ethan Linger in the 51. Your second place driver in points. Justin Klingston has nowhere to go. George Davis, Shane Bliss, Chris Devon, Brian Dawson's also in there, Jason Calasso, James Wilson Jr. However, that was not all. Jason Duke, while trying to slow up, Brian Dawson was in the way, and he just plunges into the back. And this takes out about the first 5 cars. Alan Kimmel's also in there. Walter Green, Cody Wyke also got a piece. I believe the first car that did not get any damage was, I believe, Harton, the 59. As we're going to have to see as they come down the track. Here's what happened from another angle. Dukes was trying to slow down, however, he just did not have enough time. Got the Wickets, David Scott Johnson, Jake Kierland, the 76 rolled over. There you see basically the same. Here's from Jake Kierland's perspective. Kierland tried to slow down, However, it wasn't enough. He just barely tapped the back of the 15, gets hit by Cody Wyke, and then rolls over, and we lose our camera there. So we got more shenanigans and a caution. Shane Truex in the 21 actually gets into the 42 with Shane Kingston, excuse me, there. Jamie Scott in car number 9, led on the restart with Mark McGill in car number 20 in second. Casey Lister in the Miller Lite number 12 running in third. Walter Youthan immediately making a challenge under there. Walter Youthan, who started, I believe, towards the top half of the field. Jamie Scott would actually get held up by a lap traffic for being Blake Tanglin, and James Jr. in car number 11 actually was Tanglin because of the damage. They are 3 wide here, which is a little bit dangerous as Mongillo's going to get through the rest of the lap cars. We got trouble in the back. Looks like Linger's around again. Norgan's around. Casey Lister upside down, and here's another angle we'll see it more clearing. It looks like Walter Youthan turns as well, and then Lister gets turned over basically by contact with the 51. Scott Johnson involved, Shane Nargan, Walter Green, among others. We can't really tell about anybody else there. Here's from Ethan Linger's perspective. Keith Hales on the 27 also appears to be involved. James Wilson Jr., Gordon Billard might have also gotten a piece as well. Actually does, because he got hit by Scott Johnson. Linger almost drives away, but the 11 will prop on top of the 51. So Ethan Linger, who had 6 straight top 10 finishes going into this weekend, that streak will come to an end. Shane Harden, the car number 59, led on the restart with Todd Piper running in second. Piper would immediately make a challenge for the lead with help from Logan Chin and Damon Scott in car number 18. The 26 of Piper would go down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Logan Chin in the 72 will follow suit. So Todd Piper will take the lead away from Harden. However, Harden is still trying to fight back, but it looks like Piper's already taken the lead. Chin in the 72 is now trying to get to the second spot, as Piper in the 26, who won last week, he wants to go back-to-back. Our third caution of the race will come on lap 30. Jace Gosso would push into Cody Wyke, which actually sends the 22 over, and that sends the 9 of Jamie Scott also collecting that wreck as well. As we'll see, both of them will continue on with no trouble there. Mark Mongillo in car number 20 leads on this restart. Ronald Portland, car number 31, is in second. Keith Hales in car number 27, running in third. Hales potentially one of the title favorites due to his successful performance in the 2014 season. Hales' 2015 season has just been the exact opposite of that. He's right now running in third, and this could be a chance to redeem himself. Mark McGill, meanwhile, in the 20 is just pulling away from the rest of the field, thanks in part to lap traffic being shameless. Sticking in the middle, while Portland has a heavily damaged car. There you see Hales in the 27 is going to try to take the lead first. He's trying to take that second spot away. We would have our next caution, Stephen Bolt getting into Walter Green. That sends into Shane Nargan. Nargan gets turned. He gets hit by Damon Scott. Casey Lister. Jamie Scott is also in there. And Cody Wyke in the 22. So the 4 remaining Silverton racing cars that were already in there as Linger crashed out, those would all go out of the race. Meanwhile, Shane Harden, car number 59, led on the restart with Walter Youthan, car number 8, running in second. Mike Hogan, car number 17, running third. So in about the quarter of this race, Mike Hogan has gone from 41st to 3rd, and Hogan wants to get more. However, there's Gordon Billard in the 91 being lap traffic. Billard would prove out to be an issue, as Hogan would try to use the 91 as a pick. However, that completely backfires. Harden will get a good run off of turn number 4, and Walter Youthan in car number 8 will follow suit. Billard would trap the 17 of Hogan on the inside. Chris Clark also tries to follow as well. However, luckily for Hogan, if you saw a little bit closely there, as Harden in the 59 is going to get by. Youthan in the 8 is going to be in second. Logan Chin in the 72, trying to get that outside, trying to get third away. However, as we come to the line here, no, not yet, as Harden in the 59 is just pulling away. However, we would have our next caution. Ronald Portland gets turned into the wall, and Jamie Scott in car number 9 is also collected as he was turned by Jason Calasso. Calasso has been prone for causing a couple of these accidents. On the restart, Walter Youthan in car number 8 led on the restart. Mike Hogan in 17 starting in second. Martin, I believe, actually hitting under this caution. Logan Chin is in third. Chris Clark 4th, and Tony Wider is, I believe, running in the 5th spot. There we see the 8 of Walter Youthan would get away from that 17 of Mike Hogan. Hogan would actually try to use the bottom again. However, this time Hogan was determined to try to pass that 91, and looks like Hogan will be able to get under that number 91 of Billard. And Mike Hogan will get to choose. He'll get one car length closer to that 8 of Walter Youthan. So Logan Chin, in the meanwhile, is going to try to take that second spot away as the 17. Meanwhile, we get later in the run, Chris Clark in the 56 would have the better car out of both of those drivers. Clark would then challenge for the lead under Walter Youthan. Clark, who is in his 4th year of competing in the Verizon Cup Series, As Clark in the 56, he wants to look for his first career win. He's been close on several occasions. Actually was a favorite at Atlanta, however, crashed himself out. He was also a favorite in the championship race at Columbia last year, however, crashed himself out on both occasions. And coincidentally, on both of those occasions, he was running in the top 10 at the time. And I believe at Columbia, he crashed out while running in second. While YOUTHAN in the 8 would try to go counter that his move, as the 56 Clark actually took the lead away there, and then YOUTHAN in the 8 would counter that, as YOUTHAN will successfully hold on a lead. Not yet. Clark's trying to get a run off the third corner. However, looks like YOUTHAN's going to hang on. Clark gets a run there, as looks like the 56 Clark. Looks like YOUTHAN is still trying to hold that bottom line. Clark trying to use that outside line, which then on some occasions that outside line has been working. But looks like YOUTHAN in the 8 clears the 56 Clark, and looks like Chris Clark will have to settle in for second. Clark would eventually try again, and he would actually get to the inside. YOUTHAN tried the run on the outside, however, Clark gunned it and got a good run on the inside, and Chris Clark would take the lead away with Logan Chin in the 72 trying to get that second spot away from YOUTHAN in the 8. And Clark would actually lead it for quite some time until Shane Harden actually got up to the fray with help from lap traffic of Tony WYDER. WYDER actually believes pitted at some point during I think this run, which actually is quite a long green flag run. Harden would take the lead away from Clark, and Chris Clark in the 56, as Shane Harden will be trying to look for his third one of the season in just 10 races, and he's looking to be the first driver since Ken Ross to win back-to-back races here at the track, which Ken Ross did it back in 1994 and 1995. As Clark will lose the lead there, Harden will get by, and meanwhile, as we get later on in the run, as this would actually be a very long green flag run, Harden would build up a certain gap. Clark was actually trapped behind WYDER. However, luckily enough, Tony WYDER was able to get out of the way. Chris Clark was able to close the gap on Harden. However, as Harden was trying to fear that Clark might take the lead away. Clark in the 56 would hit just 2 laps after this, as he cues up the warning signal, and he's going to put his number 56 Monster Energy Ford Fusion into pit road, as the 56. He would be followed by YOUTHAN and Mike Hogan in car number 17, as the 17. This would actually be a routing green flag stop. They all have a variety based on cars. As several cars are pitting between a stretch of about 120 to about 135. Shane Harden in the 59 would pit just 12 laps later. He would pit on lap 133, as there you see Harden making his pit road entrance. As the cycles would stop out, Chris Clark would end up being the race leader. He led by 7 seconds over YOUTHAN, as Clark in the 56. If this strategy was able to hold up, the 56 of Clark would end up getting his first career NOVAR Verizon Cup Series win here at Boston, as Clark has been very close. He actually has a pretty good year so far. His first 2 years have not been exactly good, although he's shined on some moments still in those 2 years. This year has been kind of a major step up for the 56, as Clark running his third year after he played for Mark Mongillo. The only problem with Clark has is that Shane Harden actually has fresher tires, and the 59 would be able to successfully run down the rest of the 56. He was about a full second faster than Clark during that time, but it took him quite a while because he had to maneuver around several lap cars and traffic in order to catch the 56. Harden in the 59 would have to be patient with his move, and with about 20 laps remaining, the 59 of Shane Harden would go onto the bottom of the 20s, the 56 of Chris Clark, and Harden would take the lead away from the 26 of Todd Piper, as he would take the lead away from Chris Clark in the 56, and Harden would start pulling away from here. Clark in the 56, meanwhile, already had a big enough gap over third place, Mark Mongillo, so he didn't really have to worry about third, but he's going to unfortunately be disappointed because he basically had his chance of winning wiped out too, as his strategy backfired. Harden with the fresher tires will take the white flag here, as the final 150 laps to run under green. This, I believe, be the record for longest green flag run to end the race at 150 laps. The previous one was 109. That was, I believe, in the 2004 race. Shane Harden, the 59, looking to be the first driver this year to go back-to-back races at Boston since Ken Ross. He gets his third one of the year, and Shane Harden wins his second consecutive race here at Boston. So Shane Harden scores his third victory in the season in completely dominating fashion, passing his teammate Chris Clark with about 20 laps remaining. Hardin, after winning this race last year, he also is the first driver since Ken Ross in 1994 and 1995 to win back-to-back races here at Boston. Chris Clark, who came very close to scoring his first career win here at Boston, he'll settle in for second. He finished 6th, nearly 7 seconds back of Shane Hardin in car number 59, after Hardin just completely took off after Hardin had fresher tires throughout the remainder of the second half. Chandler Blake actually got by Mark Mongillo coming to the checkered flag, so Mongillo was, I believe, third coming to the white flag, and as a result, Blake was able to get by that 20 car as they took the checkers. Mark Mongillo in car number 20 finishes 4th. Good run for car number 20 of Mark Mongillo. Walter Youth in car number 8 finishes in the top 5. He finishes 19 seconds back of the leader. And Mike Hogan, Walter Youth's teammate, finishes 6th. He is 21 points. He is 21 seconds back of the leaders. He was the last car to finish on the lead lap. Jason Calasso, a pretty good run for car number 04. He finishes in the 7th spot, first car 1 lap down, as he would have had a chance to get his lap back. However, when Shane Hardin got by Clark, it was just no mercy from there. Todd Piper actually has a good rebound, trying to rejuvenate his season. Piper coming off that win last week in Atlanta, backs it up with a 8th place finish here at Boston. Logan Chin in car number 72 was an early contender, never really was. Once the halfway point got through, he finishes in the 9th spot. And then Keith Hales in car number 27 rounds out the top 10. And just keep in mind, Piper Incorporation, as I said, they were probably having a reboot. Their other teammate, Stephen Volk in car number 29, finished 11th. And now let's take a look at our point standings, as beginning with next week's race in New Jersey. These drivers will all be in the first group, as that will go all the way down to 37th place. We'll have to look at where 37th goes. Will tell you who is in the 37th place, and then we'll tell you the 38th place driver, as that will be the first 2 drivers, the 37th being the last driver to be in the first group, 38th being the first driver in the second group. But anyways, back to point standings. Mike Hogan in car number 17, he still leads the point standings. The point deficit was cut to 1 point by Walter Youth in car number 8, who takes over that second spot due to either struggle. Shane Hardin in car number 59 doesn't exactly gain. He gains some ground, but not enough. He is 23 points back of the points leader. He is third, gained 1 spot. Ethan Littinger, car number 51, had 6 consecutive top 10 finishes snapped here at Boston, and as a result, it pays a huge consequence as he drops 2 spots to 4th in the point standings. Scott Johnson and CJ Gordon remain stabilized in the 5th and 6th spots, with Scott Johnson being 50 points back, and then he's another good 36 points back ahead of CJ Gordon in car number 48. Damon Scott in car number 18 is in 7th in the point standings. He gained 3 spots despite crashing out pretty early in this race, and that's kind of odd. Jay Anonori in car number 01 falls to 1 spot. Anonori didn't technically start the race, even though I believe she started about midfield. The engine completely imploded, and they never really could get the car back on track, but losing 1 spot is a lot better than losing a lot. Eddie Johns comes in 5. He also loses a spot, falls to 9th in the point standings. And Casey Lester in car number 12 also crashed out pretty early on in this race, gains 2 spots to get into the top 10. And let's take a look through 11 through 20. Chris Clark with his 2nd place finish gains 6 spots to 11th. He is 95 points back. Kyra Youthan drops a spot to 12th. He is 96 points back. Ike Jace Jr., car number 09, continues to fall off. He falls 4 spots to 13th in the point standings. Chandler Blake with his top 5 finish. He gains 5 spots along with Jason Kylasu, who also gains 5 spots. Blake being 99 points back of the leader, while Kylasu being 105 points back. James Wilson Jr. is 106 points back. He loses 3 spots to 16th. Brandon Green drops a spot to 17th in the point standings. He is 112 points back of the leader. Jake Carroll in car number 76 loses 4 spots due to his relatively stupid move that happened. Actually, it wasn't him. A relatively dumb move. He loses 4 spots to 18th. Shane Arden cracks into the top 20. Back into the top 20, he gains 2 spots to 19th. And Matt Kemlin, car number 28, rounds out the top 20. He is 129 points back, and he lost 5 spots. And as I mentioned a little earlier, we're going to announce the 37th, 38th place drivers. If you didn't read enough earlier, since this is the last race to use the second group of qualifying, the third batch of group qualifying point drivers will now be unveiled, and these will be the groups for the next 5 weeks. So we're going to have to check the standings now. The 37th place driver is Ronald Portland, so he will be the last driver to advance to be in the first group. The 38th place driver is Justin Klingston in car number 24. So Portland will be the last driver to be in the first group of qualifying, and Justin Klingston will be the 38th place driver. So that means he will be the first car in the second group. And these groups will apply for New Jersey, New York Auto Ring, Branson, and Sonoma. So that is being the next 5 weeks, which is at the New Jersey Motor Speedway for week number 13, the New York Auto Ring in week number 17, Branson Speedway in week number 18, and then week number 20 at Sonoma. So the new groups will begin to, so after the groups after the Sonoma race will transition into the newer groups, beginning with race 16 at Denver. And also to keep in mind, the 12th race of the season at Casey are actually doubles events, so whatever groups that these drivers are in, there will be a slightly different qualifying, as there will be pre-qualifiers to fill up the rest of the starting grid. That will basically consist of stock talent, part-timers, challenge drivers. And these two groups will also be the two groups that will be racing in separate duels for Casey in race number 12. And now to our race recap. There were 5 cautions for 20 laps, most of them in about the same span of time. Mike Hogan was our hard charger. He gained 35 spots to finish in 6th. Shane Harden led the most laps at 84. There were 8 leaders for 14 lead changes, and the margin of victory was about 7 seconds. The next time the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series driver hit the track, it'll be in the inaugural race at the New Jersey Motor Speedway in New Brunswick, New Jersey for race number 11. The NOVAR Gatorade Series will be racing at Watkins Glen. The last time that happened was just a pure mess. The All-American Series event will be racing at Albuquerque for its 7th race of the season. The Lowe's Modified Tour will be racing its 5th race of the season at Loudon. And the European Tour will be taking the 6th race of the season at Milano. We'd like to congratulate Shane Harden on scoring his 3rd victory of the season. And we will see you next week in New Brunswick, New Jersey.